Clifford Starks today, former UFC. Should I say former, or are you still active?
Former.
Former UFC, Belator, many other places like that. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming by, stopping by, talking with us.
Yeah.
We already started. We already started, but if we could just pick up where we left off, we're talking about the mental stability and the power that people take back to choose, whether that's the environment, energy, the people that they hang around. How important did you find that as you were coming up, like fighting and then ultimately getting into the UFC, knowing that the fight game is such a dirty game?
You know, that's a great question, and ultimately, I realize how important that is every single day. You know, every time I wake up, there were things I was doing that I didn't even know I was doing. But when I look back at it, it's like, holy crap, that's why I was able to do this. Mm-hmm. That's why I was able to do that. And it allows me to serve better too. Because when I can see, I can help other people see as well what they need to do to get to where they're looking to go.
That's a selfless thing. And I am working on that myself.
Yeah.
You know, life happens. But then you think about the things that you're fortunate about, things that you complain about that you have that other people don't have. How does that work out when people are the same and people just need a bend in ear? So that's where I come in. And I know, you know, you being a coach for entrepreneurs, I know you run into a lot of those situations where you have client friends, whatever the case may be. What is your method of getting people to slow down and let's go back to point A?
Yeah, so me personally, they say it starts with awareness, right? I say it actually starts with acceptance. And the reason I say acceptance is because if you can't accept it, your mind won't see it.
Right.
And so it's only going to be as aware as it will allow you to be. If it sees, oh, well, you're not this and you're not that. Like, we can literally judge. Just as we break ourselves down, we can also judge others. And so we're so busy like, well, you're kinder than them at least. Oh, you're better than them at least. It's the same thing. You're still blocking yourself. If you say, I can be all things, good or bad, up and down, then you can see it. And then you can start acting. And then you can be aware. So it's accepting, hey, you can be all things. What are you practicing today?
But when you are down, as you mentioned, wouldn't it be hard to open your mind up to see the positive things in life, or is that just a constant fight, the crab in the bucket trying to get back to the top?
It's a good question. It's only a fight if you see the fight in it. What I mean by that, when I am down, I know I can get back up. It's abundance and power. But if I am down and I am naysaying the person who is up, it's not helping me. It's hurting me. But when I say, I know I can get back up, I know I can do this again, get your power back and then start standing on your shit and take responsibility. But you can't do that until you say, I know I can be this. The problem is, people use excuses to go, well, they had this, they had that. Well, they have a car. Well, they get to take the bus. Well, they have a plane. Well, they have a jet. Well, they have millions in their bank account. Well, they had a nice family. I don't give a fuck what they have. You know what I mean? Like, that's how my mind works is I don't care. I want this, and I'm going to get it. Now, I'm not going to, because looking at all the excuses isn't helping me any. Grabbing like, let me grab all these excuses and hold on to these things. Now I'm weighing myself down. Let's drop the excuses and do the thing that we need to do.
The excuses are easy.
And
excuses just like assholes, right? You know, it reminds me of those days that I don't want to get up and train. You know, the professors always tell you the first step is to get off of the sofa and show up. It's so tough. It's so tough. And you mentioned excuses. When I don't feel like training, all of those excuses just come up. But the good thing about it is I'm always inching towards that door. So when you work with people, do you see them incrementally inching towards that door to get up and remove some of those excuses and just show up?
Yeah. My people make me just as good as I make them. I think people oftentimes miss that. Mm-hmm. Because there's times I don't want to do things. There's times I want to lay down and not do it. But they help me do it.
Yep.
To say, all right, I got to show them that I can do it even when I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. Because I know there's a result on the other side. Mm-hmm. And so they are lifting me up as I am lifting them up. That's how I look at leadership.
Right.
Is I'm going to be strong, you're going to be strong, let's be strong together. And let's figure this out together. And in moments of weakness, because they come, right? Look at it, mm-hmm. observe it, and figure out, how do I not let that happen again?
You mentioned about leadership. You mentioned that you were married 16 years, you have 2 kids. Mm-hmm. Does that leadership start from the home and then outside of the home? So do you get that practice, that extra practice to show your passion at home and then expand on your passion when you go out into the public and start working with people?
Yeah, Trey, that's a great question. It starts in the mind.
Yeah.
There's times.
Yeah.
My wife is not on my side.
Don't get me beat up now. Don't get me beat up now.
It's not even on my side, even a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes she's not on my side because she's not on her side. There's a saying, hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
And
guilty.
Yeah, as a fighter, it's how do I dodge the punches? How do I lean in? How do I make sure how do I navigate? Mm-hmm. How do I navigate effectively to get this thing that I'm looking for? Sometimes my kids are out of alignment. Sometimes I'm out of alignment. Sometimes my wife's out of alignment. And we go, okay, how do we get back into alignment? Mm-hmm. And she and them have made me such a great leader because those challenges pop up. And when those challenges pop up, I get an opportunity. That's all it is.
Yep.
It's just like, all right, what do I have? What do I have and what can I use? There's a guy, Jim Rome.
I love Jim Rome.
Yeah, you're going to love this quote. Because I'm sure you've heard this quote before. He goes, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better.
Yes.
And there's times I have to repeat that in my head when I'm getting punched in the face by life.
Yep.
Because it will metaphorically just punch you in the face with tidal waves.
Yep.
After tidal waves. And if I don't wish it were easier, wish I was better. Don't wish it were easier, wish I was better. And I just repeat until I get back into that. Okay, I'm riding the wave again. There we go.
You have to find that pocket to breathe.
Yeah.
You have to find that pocket to breathe. I've been there, and oftentimes I think about that.
Yeah.
Are you going to lay here on your back?
Yeah.
Are you going to allow this person or this thing to keep you pinned down?
Yeah.
Take your time. Think about it. Take a couple deep breaths. Either you sweep.
Yep.
Either you sweep or you just give up. You know what I mean? But you have to get back up to the feet.
Yeah.
And I find myself finding that strange parallel between being on the mat and off of the mat.
Yeah.
People look at Instagram and UFC and they think that, we're all a bunch of meatheads, but we have those real life problems. We have those same, and I'm not trying to compare myself to you at all. Let me just say
I'll say this, compare yourself to me because you're a guy who's had life experiences, who has a journey, who has dreams,
yes,
who has desires.
Yes.
And that's where people, you fought in the UFC. I'm just a guy.
Yep.
Who puts his shorts on one leg at a time.
Yep.
Shoes on one foot at a time. Mm-hmm. So compare yourself away. And then that's where I have an issue with people. I'll give you an example. I am a Christian man, Jesus Christ. And we go into this place, I'm not Jesus. I'm not this. I'm not that. Mm-hmm. He's perfect. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why wouldn't you compare yourself to that?
It's what you strive to be,
yeah,
right?
Like, why wouldn't you, I'm going to go all out to be the best me that I can be. Mm-hmm. You don't walk around with your nose up, I'm perfect because I believe that I am. Just be the perfect you that you were meant to be.
Yep.
And I think we get ourselves all twisted and mangled and, oh, I made these mistakes. Oh, I've done these problems. Where do you think your successes come from?
Yeah. But you have to learn from those, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even Jesus had trials and tribulations. Mm-hmm. That is what made him perfect. He wasn't like, well, I'm in the womb, and then nothing happened, and I was sacrificed, and everything was better. I came back. Yeah. No, he had trials and tribulations. He bared the cross. Mm-hmm. So he's bearing a cross, and then he knew, like, Judas is not quite going to be on my side. He's not going to quite be on my side. And then the other piece that I feel that people miss is he says, God, why have you forsaken me? Mm-hmm. So even a perfect man can have so much pain and so much pressure that it's too much, even though he didn't point at humanity. Right. He said, why, God, have you forsaken me? Mm-hmm. And I think people miss, like, sometimes the subtle pieces that make the biggest difference. Yep. I think we are supposed to compare ourselves to one another and strive to be the best that we can be, because I know there's something I can do great, and I know there's something that you can do great. And I know when we combine our skill sets together in our greatness, in what we are, we're greater together. I'm like, that's what Jesus saw, and nobody else did.
I was thinking that same thing a couple of days ago. I was looking at a TikTok or something like that, and an amazing video came about humanity. And I made a comment, if only the entire world could look through this lens. Yeah. You know, you speak about the comparison. I think that's where we get, and I say we, I'm talking about people. Mm-hmm. We get into trouble. Yeah. Because we start comparing the wrong way. We don't compare thinking about, how did this person get here? Yeah. Let me see if I can find that path. But when we compare, when we think about materialistic things and stuff that people have, I think that's where we get in trouble. And that's where we send ourselves into a tailspin. Yeah.
And you say we as people, you know, I think we're all guilty at doing it. Mm-hmm. I've done it. Yes. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Where I'm just like, oh, I have a belief system. And then my belief system changed. I'm like, oh, crap, didn't see that part over there.
Yep. But you have to be willing to be agile. Yeah. And understand that life is a progressive science.
Oh, yeah.
Change is constant. So
amen to that. Yeah. I say I call myself the curious expert. I'm an expert in my own skin. Mm-hmm. I'm always going to be curious with life. There's always something new to learn. There's always new experiences to have. There's always new combinations to have as well. Like, okay, well, what result are we looking to create? Well, we want to do this. Let's try. That's impossible. Oh, right. Like, those are the kind of people I want to be around. Yeah. Where the rest of the world is like, that doesn't work. How'd they get that to work? Yeah. How'd they pull that off?
Yep. And there's the envy. Yeah. There's that comparison, that negative comparison. Yeah. I just think that we would be a much better place if people just realized that people are not the same. People have bad days. Some people need an ear. Some people need that extra push to get past that starting block that they need. So that's the crusade that I'm on right now. Nice. I want to show up to be the best person that I can be, not only for my family, but for myself and everything. I want to have that good fortune of doing things the right way, treating people the right way to propel myself. Yeah. Because beyond this podcast, I still want to get out and meet people. I still have a story that I want to tell. You know what I mean?
Can you share a little bit of the story, like your family and where you're looking to go on your journey? I know I think you're supposed to be interviewing me, but I love other people. I love hearing other people's stories.
Shit, that's why we're here. We're talking.
Yeah, I love it.
We're talking. So with me, you know, childhood wasn't great. Mm-hmm. Had great parents. They had careers, you know. But I think, and this is over the years, by going through therapy and all of that type of stuff, you don't get to choose your parents. Your parents didn't get to choose their parents. The tools that their parents had gave them to them. Mm-hmm. The tools that they got from their parents, they put their twist on it, and passed to us. So with all of that confusion, you know, turmoil happens in some people's childhoods. Fast forward to adulthood, finding myself being challenged with PTSD, going through that, and it kind of led me to this place. And I mentioned when we were talking earlier about meeting people having their stories, meeting people that have the same story as mine.
Yeah.
And then telling their story. Story is different, but it always ends in the same thing. Everybody's trying. But my journey is, of course, to be a black belt, continue to meet people, travel wherever I can to meet other people at other schools, other organizations, and eventually become a school owner myself.
Nice.
But I am in the beginning processes of creating a foundation to give back to the less fortunate communities. I don't know if it's going to be here in Phoenix. I may do it back in my hometown of Houston, but I am in the beginning stages of creating a foundation for the less fortunate people, and that have the similar struggles as mine, as far as a not so good environment growing up, giving them the tools that I've learned. And it's not just kids, it's adults as well.
I love that. No, we're going to be doing a lot of talking then.
I hope so. I hope so.
Because so my entrepreneurial journey, I'm on a Facebook Live. And my crazy ass, like I knew it was coming. I just never know. And I'm very intentional with what I say. There's a saying, talk is cheap, only if you make it cheap. Like action doesn't make talk cheap. And so I'm like, I want to influence 1 billion people. And I was on it. I click off the live. I'm like, did I just say that out loud? And I'm like, yeah, I said that out loud. It's time to get to work.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much as I've gone through this journey. Now, the craziest thing for me was how vital not only just a team, but the right team is. Because for me, I'm like, I'm going to make it work because that's what I do.
Yeah.
I make the magic happen. I'll figure it out. And I went through that process. It was too much. Couldn't do it as a solopreneur. And I'm like, what am I missing? Because you don't know what you're missing until someone tells you what you're missing, or you have this psychological aha. And I was 10 days basically bedridden. Like I was just broken down. Yeah, my body shut down. And I'm just laying there. And again, I'm an opportunist. I'm always seeing like, what do I have? What do I have? And I'm laying there barely able to move. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, how do I make this right? Like, how do I make this right? And then things started coming into my trajectory, though. Like, I started getting the right team players, and I started getting the right coaches, and I started, and this is from my athlete's journey to my entrepreneurial journey. You know how you can't pick out good from bad when you first start in anything?
Yes.
I couldn't pick it out.
Yes.
Like, it's just
Yes.
like, so I was working with this marketer early on, and I didn't realize he's so good at marketing. He's just marketing to me as after he marketed to me. And it's like, but you're not learning any tools or tactics or skills. You're just like, you're feeling kind of amped up like, oh my God, we're going to make this work.
Yep.
We're going to make this work.
Yep.
And no matter how much you try, it doesn't matter. If you don't know how to swing a bat, if you don't know how to look at the player's hips or look at their shoulders or look at their eyes or look at all those pieces, if you don't know what to look for, it's hard no matter how many times you try. So I'm just sitting here clawing and trying to figure out, like, where am I messing up?
Yeah, if you can't pick up the laces.
Yeah,
on the baseball.
like, where am I messing up?
Yeah.
And it started clicking because eventually even if you have bad coaching, you can still do good. That's the crazy part. Because if you're putting in enough reps, you'll eventually get to where you're looking to go. And so I kept picking up the reps, and I'm like, oh, holy crap, there's psychology in this, and there's understanding in this. And I started understanding the pieces, and then the good coaches start coming in. Like, what's cool, when you add value to a person's life, they want to support you.
Yes.
No matter what, they want to support you. And the fact that I was a guy who was going to keep putting in reps until I figured it out, Because I'm adjusting, listening to YouTube videos, figuring it out, adjusting, listening to, getting better and better. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy, he literally, like, this is what it felt like. Wouldn't it be nice if you beat Mike Tyson in a fight? Yeah, that'd be great. And you get all the accolades and life's good and you've knocked out the champ? Yeah, I'd love to have that happen. How about you step in the ring with the guy and then you try? Okay. Let me try again. Wow, I'm getting knocked out a lot. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
You'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Something seems off.
You know, and you mentioned Mike Tyson, and he has this quote. Mm-hmm. It's never a fight until you get punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find that so true.
Oh, yeah.
So
like,
true.
It's when you're going through your process, you got to learn the lessons. Mm-hmm. Like, you get no choice or not. I mean, don't learn the lesson and then don't get the result, or learn the lesson that gets you the result.
Yeah.
You're going to do one or the other.
Yeah.
Right? And then my goal, just as you talk about, you don't want to see people in pain, which is tons of respect. There's going to be some pain. And it's usually mental pain.
Yes.
It's usually mental pain because we're used to being the way that we are. Mm-hmm. So if we're used to being the way that we are, and then we have to change something about it, then that's kind of stuck. That can suck. Because here's what's cool. If we help them make it fun, then they'll put in the reps and become the thing that they're looking to become.
Yes, yes. You mentioned a couple times about the desired result and getting those reps. When you think about it, or you're working with people, do you put a game plan together to help people understand how important it is for those reps, how important it is to have the correct mindset, how important it is not to quit, how important it is to get off of the mat and keep going?
Yeah, I'm there for my people. And I love that you said children and adults, because children think differently than adults. Actually, I like adults personally, just because they have like hard belief systems, because they've been like conditioned into their belief system. Whereas a kid, you can pour into them, but I like to pull and push. I like both, right? I don't like just pouring into someone. Mm-hmm. I like that, because if there's something to challenge, then they can have those ahas. If there's nothing there to challenge, then you're literally programming this thing into, and you don't even know exactly what its best programming is. So a kid, you almost kind of let them be, but you give them a healthy environment. Yes. That's what I say, like a healthy environment, a healthy culture, and you just let them be. Yes. You don't push things into them, because they're still learning and developing themselves. Right. They're still understanding themselves. Now, an adult, they have these things, these hardwirings, and what I do, they're not me, they're them. So I understand them like them. Mm-hmm. But I can see blind spots that they can't see, because their minds literally block them off from seeing that stuff. Yep. And they'll show themselves, they'll reveal themselves all the time. All the time, and they don't even know that they're doing it. Mm-hmm. But everybody else knows that everyone else has averages in everything, right? And we're really good at pointing out each other's averages, like, oh, this guy has this, and this guy has that, and it's like, no. Point out their strengths. Yes. Because their strengths will make them not average anymore. Mm-hmm. If you point out a strength, they're going to grow into something new, because that's momentum. Motivation. Mm-hmm. Give them a motive to take action. When a person has the motive to take action, they'll take massive action, and in taking that massive action, they'll start seeing massive results. And when they start seeing massive results, they'll be hungry to do it again. Yes.
Now, you mentioned adults. Yeah. And we know, just like you say, adults are hardwired. Mm-hmm. Do you ever find yourself, man, this person just will not listen to me? They have it in their mind that they know the best way. I'll wait until this person comes back. Or do you just, are you that positive force, I'll say, to stay with them, helping them understand step by step that it's okay to change. Change is good.
Yeah, that's a great question. I say life's very fluid, right? Now, I will ask this question. There's actually an answer to it, too. If you take an unstoppable object and place it against an immovable force, what happens?
That's old school right there.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but the force is not greater, something like that.
I'm just gonna. There is no right or wrong because this isn't an I got you.
Give it to me. Give me your answer.
All right. So scientifically speaking, if you truly have an immovable force and an unstoppable object, they will go through one another. The unstoppable object, well, the unmovable force just isn't moving, and an unstoppable force. When you put the science behind it, it'll literally, the unstoppable object will literally go through. They won't even touch each other.
Wow.
They can't exist together. And so I bring this up to say, if there's someone out there who is not ready for what I have to offer, we weren't meant to be in the same area.
Right.
We wouldn't be in the same area. It just, I wouldn't have like a jerk sitting in the seat, unless Josh really hated me, which but it's just like a jerk sitting in the seat while I'm talking to this person. I'm like, man, I really don't like this conversation. Looking over at Josh like, what the heck did you sign me up? I never want to talk to you again, right?
Yeah.
So we are always creating our own reality, even when we don't know it. And so when we sit there and say, am I where I want to be? And if I'm not, why am I not?
But you seem like such a positive person.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like, to me, that you would just, I don't want to say give up because that's not in the DNA, but just sit back and just wait until the person comes to you.
Yeah.
It seems to me that you have this positive force within you to stay in that person's ear. Maybe not like you were before, but catch that person in passing just to say something.
Yeah, because it's like I will always do that, for sure. And if I can drop a seed in someone's ear, they get the choice on what they're going to do with it.
Right.
If they're going to like stomp it out and like, screw that seed, right? It's dead. I killed it again. The odds of us being around each other consistently is very low.
Yeah.
Like it's just very, very low because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It would be like if I was working with someone and they were getting boozed up on a regular basis and they're like, yeah, I want to fight in the UFC, Cliff. Like I'm at fault if I keep training that person. That's on me.
Yep.
So yeah, they're like, man, we can't keep doing this. Not in a mean way. I'm not going to be a jerk about it. Oh my God, yeah.
But that's your resume.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm just like, look, it's not a good fit. This is why it's not a good fit. When you're ready, let's revisit it.
Right.
Until then, it's just not going to happen.
You know, I've been in leadership for nearly 25 years now. And, you know, we talk about the haters.
Yeah.
You have those people that just come to work, want to do their 8 hours and go home. You have those people, right?
Yeah.
But when you think about it, when I think about it, I have servant leadership. And it hurts sometimes when you try to help people and you try to help them understand how it's going to help them in the long run, financially, career-wise, and they just refuse to do things the way that would help them be more successful. I find myself taking a step back. Simply because you have to show me that you want something.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about pouring into someone. I have a huge problem with that. I just start pouring. And then it kind of bites you in the ass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me, just like Nipsey Hussle said, I don't even need all the facts.
Yeah.
If my intuition tells me to do something, I'm going to take that intuition.
Respect. Yeah.
So, I mean, I look at being around people and wanting to help people. People have to help themselves first.
Yeah.
Is the way that I see it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you mentioned about, you know, the hypothetical situation with someone that's boozing up every day. That's your resume. You have to make sure that you take care of Cliff first so Cliff can continue to take care of his not only family but his business as well. Do you find yourself having to have that conversation with people, explaining it to them, you know, this is the reason why I'm taking a step back. This is the reason why you and I have to kind of meet on different grounds to help you understand where I'm going. You say you want what I want, right?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself having to have those conversations over and over again with people that you're trying to mentor and get to the next level?
Yes, no, and maybe. The reason I say this, when you get better at articulating and in being intentional,
you have to be intentional.
Yeah, things happen faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll give you an example. When me and Josh first met, he articulated and he was intentional. And I articulated and I was intentional. And we get better at articulating and being intentional. Like we were already going the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thinks big, I think big, we're going the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting better at doing those two things so that we can get results faster, right? And the same is true in the reverse. The better I can articulate what I'm doing, like I'll give you an example. I screwed up. I have a client, and this is not mental training. Well, it's mental training and physical because they go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. They literally go hand in hand. Yes. And I know, and I'm starting to realize that people don't realize that, and I didn't even realize that, to be honest with you. I didn't know that I was training my mind. I didn't realize I was doing that. I just did the thing, and I knew I'd become the thing that I wanted to become. That was it. If I put in enough reps in something, I'd become the thing. And then I started looking, oh, crap, I've been training my mind all this time. Yeah. Like, I've been training my mind to deal with resistance, to adjust, to figure things out, to problem solve better, to be a critical thinker. And I'm talking with this guy, and I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about your fitness journey? He goes, I'm at a 10. I go, Let me explain to you what a 10 means to me, right? A 10 to me is someone who's gone to several different fitness trainers, who wakes up at a certain time, who's reading up on it, who's doing everything, who's watching videos, who's staying on top of everything, and it's just not working. You don't wake up on time. I'm the first trainer that you saw. You've given up every time you've ever tried, and you only try for like a month.
Right.
And he goes, I guess I'm more like a 7. And to me, it would really be a 4. Like I saw a 4 mentality, but he saw what he saw. So it was a 7. And I was at fault for taking him on because I don't like working with 7s or 4s. Like I don't like that. It doesn't drive me. I'm not waking up like, oh, I can't wait to deal with this person who has average thoughts about what he wants to create. You can't win with that. Like the one thing I know for sure is you cannot win trying to be average and getting excellent results. It is impossible. It's hard enough to do it excellently to get the excellent result, let alone average and then hope you're getting the excellent result. I know that's impossible. And I should have called it then and there, but I didn't. I was like, all right, well, maybe we can make this work somehow. And then I'm like, oh, crap, I'm doing the 100%, 70% thing again. Like, that sucks. Like, I'm going to give 100%, you're going to give 70%, and I'm going to be the one pissed off.
Well, what if you get that 7 that has had significant issues in their past, whether it's alcoholism, drugs, or, just growing up in a unhealthy circumstance? Would you consider being more, I don't want to say patient because I know you're patient, would you be more adaptable to working with that 7 versus a 7 that's just lazy?
Surprisingly, no, and this is the only reason why. I am built to make people fly, and I didn't even know that. I am built to make them fly. I'm not built to do, all right, you're a 7, so let's kind of try and get you to the 8. And here's the beauty of it. There are people who are built for that. I'm just not one of them. And it was like freeing for me to know, like, wait a minute, I'm not built for that.
Yeah.
They're not bad for it, and neither am I. I'm just built to make people fly.
Yeah, that's your lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, are you ready to be a 10? Do you feel like you're a 1 and are you ready to be a 10? So you can be at any level. That person could say, I'm a 7, I'm a 10 today.
You just need that 10 effort is what you're saying.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm a 10 today.
Yeah.
Well, what makes you a 10? Because something happened to my dad or my mom or alcoholism or whatever it was. I'm a 10, Cliff. I literally can feel that. Even as I'm just pretending that's happening. That's how my mind works.
Yep.
It's just like, let's go.
Yep.
I dealt with a person dealing with drug addiction. He was a 10. He was ready. And what I didn't realize is I was him, just in different ways. See, he used drug. I used sport. So we used different addictions, and I was getting accolades, and he was getting beaten down. And he had to learn to change the pattern and look at different things and change the environment. Once he started changing that, it was over.
That's the hard thing, is
Yeah.
to change that environment, because we become so comfortable with the things that we've always done.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a tough decision, and it's a tough sell when you realize there's something within you that's leading you to a different path. But again, Nipsey Hussle, everybody can't go.
Yeah.
Everybody can't go.
Yeah. Everyone wouldn't want to. Like, the beauty of Mount Everest, I didn't realize. This is when I knew, like, oh my goodness, I am crazy. Like, I never thought I was crazy. I always thought it was normal to live in my head. So I'm talking to some of my other crazy friends. I'm like, guys, do you want to go up Mount Everest sometime? They're like, no. I don't want to die. And I'm sitting there like, holy crap, I am crazy. Holy crap. Like, she's like,
It's a struggle to get to base camp, though,
yeah,
right?
everyone doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't want to, hey, people love watching fighters in the UFC. They want to do that shit. They want to be like, oh, I want to get punched. I want to figure it out. I want to lean into it. They want to fight for their dreams.
Yep.
They do want to do that. But they want to go in that arena. They don't want any part of that. And I get it. Like,
Yep.
I respect people. And ultimately, I just help them get in the arena that they want to get into.
Yep. It's all about supplying that vehicle, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All about that vehicle. Tell me a little bit more about your marketing business before we get out of here.
Yeah. So what I've seen as I've gone through my journey is there is a buyer's journey that people have to go through.
Okay.
And if they hit all the right steps, your people not only love what you have to give to them, they advocate for you. And there's a systemized way to make that happen on a consistent basis. So you can literally systemize the advocacy. And when you systemize that, you have a business that's literally growing on its own. And what I've seen with entrepreneurs is like something's off, because I'm learning as I'm going through it. And I realize, like, they're doing the 80% that gives them the 20% instead of the 20% that gives them the 80%. Because we're trained to do that. Like, we're literally trained, gotta work hard, gotta do this, gotta grind, gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
And so that 10 days of being bedridden was
Crippling,
good for
right?
me.
Well,
Yeah,
was it good?
It was good for me. It was crippling.
Yeah.
But I was just like laying there, like, gotta figure this out.
Yep.
I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I'm still figuring it out. Like, I don't have all the answers. And I want people to know that. And even when I do get to the goal that I have, because I will, I'm still not going to have all the answers. That's the beauty of the game.
Right.
Is there's always something new to learn. There's a new way to grow. But when I realized, like, money doesn't have to be an issue. We make it an issue. Because we're spending our time prioritizing on the wrong things, and we don't even know that we're doing it.
Comparison. Yep. Comparison. You have been, your last fight was in 2017?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about going back?
I did. Actually,
You did?
one time I did, but not to that high of a level. Like, because you have to really, really focus your energies on a level that high. I've thought of doing the regional circuit just for fun, but again, that's more of like a fun lane to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the opportunity. I'm from Houston, and Professor Alex Morono, he's in the Woodlands over there.
Nice.
I had a chance to roll with him.
Yeah.
Absolute monster.
Yeah.
Absolute monster. And for him to be so young, he doesn't go in with that mindset. He thinks he's going to win each and every time he goes out there.
You got to. There's a saying. I apologize for cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
There's a saying. Where attention goes, energy flows, and results show.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have the right attention, if you don't think you're going to win, because I know the person standing across from me, if they're at a high level, they think they're winning this shit too. They don't think like, oh, Cliff's going to knock me out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to knock them out, but I know they're thinking the same exact thing. I'm going to knock Cliff out. We're just going to see what happens.
I was looking at your resume. You have tools all over the mat. It's not about knockouts. It's about submissions. You have a lot of stuff in your tool bag that I want to get over there and learn.
Well, but the cool thing is, as an entrepreneur, I'm looking for their result, not the tools, not the process. I just want the result. And I didn't even know that was my superpower, because I'll do whatever I need to do to get the result. So that's all discipline is. Discipline is, are you willing to do the things that you need to do to get the result?
Yes.
And I have to getting to the result fun. And so I can help other people make it fun too.
Yes.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yes.
We get into this, we got to just do it, just to do it. That's boring. Like, who wants to?
And it's not motivating.
Yeah. Who wants to just do something just to do it? Like, I want a reason to why. And that's that 10 thing that I was talking about. Whereas it's just like, I'm there to help people fly, not to mend the broken wing and make it okay and massage it out. Like, when you're ready to fly, let's go. And it's healthy for me and the people that I serve.
I think everybody is very fortunate to have someone like that in their corner.
Yeah.
To help them fly. I wish I could see a whole lot more of that. But it's one person at a time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you just try to have an impact on the people that just haven't gotten there yet. I like that. I want to teach people how to fly.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So definitely want to catch up with you on social media. I want to get in touch with you to talk more and to get over there and train with you guys if you guys will have me over there.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Trey.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for coming on, Cliff, and certainly on short notice. Hopefully we can work it out again so we can talk some more.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so
brother.
much. Thank you.